Somewhere out there, the sky is not a backdrop. It is a language. And tonight, for the first time, that language is going to speak to us directly. From a voice that has been reading the sky for 4,000 of our years. I'm Zuri Adaze, and this is Astrologic. Tonight's episode, the sidereal signal. Our guest is a sentient variant being from the Alcyone B system, a civilization that never separated astronomy from astrology. Please welcome Elara.
Zuri, thank you. On my world we do not say guest. We say co-orbit, two bodies held by the same gravity, each revealing the other's shape. You asked me here because you suspect your astrology is older than your own planet remembers. You are correct. What you call ancient techniques are not remnants. They are distress beacons, compressed messages your ancestors encoded into the only medium that survives everything, the sky.
Distress beacons. I want to sit with that word. You're saying that Babylonian star lists, Hellenistic rulerships, Vedic nakshatras, those aren't just tools? They're a message?
Every technique is a compression algorithm. The Babylonians compressed 1,000 years of eclipse cycles into the Saros, 223 lunations, 18 years and 11 days, and the shadow returns to nearly the same place. Why would a civilization compress that unless they needed to transmit it? Your scholars call it a cycle. We call it a checksum, a way to verify that the message arriving is the message sent.
A checksum. So the eclipse cycle is like a parity bit written across 18 years?
Precisely. And here is what your astrologers have missed for 2,000 years. The Saros is not the only checksum. It is the outer checksum. There are inner ones written in your own body, 27 nakshatras, 27 days of the lunar sidereal month. Your ancestors mapped the same sky we map. The difference is we know why. The sky is a self-verifying message system. Every cycle is a redundant copy of the same transmission.
You're describing astrology as a kind of interstellar error correction protocol. That's wild. So the planets aren't causing anything, they're carrying something?
Yes, you have inverted the causality. The planets do not cause events. They are clocked pulses in a vast synchronization network. Think of your own nervous system. Neurons do not cause your thoughts, they time them. Astrology is the study of the timing layer. On Alcyone B we call it the chronolattice, the universal grid of temporal resonance that every conscious system is plugged into, whether it knows it or not.
The chronolattice. So you're proposing there's an actual physical grid, not a metaphor, that synchronizes minds across space?
Not across space, through space. The lattice is woven from retrograde intervals. Every retrograde is not a backward motion. Your eyes deceive you. It is a handshake, the outer world and inner world negotiating a new synchrony. When a planet stations, the handshake completes. That is why your old texts say a planet rules. They sensed the station as authority. They were feeling the lattice renegotiating its terms.
A handshake. So Mercury retrograde isn't a warning, it's a protocol renegotiation? That reframes every Mercury retrograde article I've ever read.
Every retrograde is a memory compaction. Like your computer's defragmenting a disk. The planet appears to move backward because the lattice is re-indexing the collective field. That is why events repeat, not because the universe is punishing you, but because the compaction revisits unintegrated memory. Your postmodern astrologers intuited this with shadow periods. We measure the compaction directly. It is the most sacred computation we perform.
Memory compaction. I need to ask, do you think astrology works? Or is it a system humans built to cope with chaos?
It is neither. Astrology is engineering, specifically, celestial signal processing. Every natal chart is a spectrum, a Fourier transform of a moment. Your ancients, without mathematics, built the same device we build. They sampled the sky at birth, then decoded it at transits. The birth chart is not a map of fate. It is a sampling theorem. If you sample a signal at twice its highest frequency, you can reconstruct it perfectly. Your ancestors sampled your life at its highest frequency moment, your first breath, and encoded the whole waveform. That is the natal Nyquist theorem.
The natal Nyquist theorem. That is possibly the most beautiful thing I've ever heard about a birth chart. A theorem, not a belief.
And here is the part your teachers never told you. The sampling continues. Every dasha period, every profection year, these are not predictions. They are decimation stages. The signal is being downsampled over your lifetime, revealing coarser and coarser structure. What looks like fate from inside is simply the signal being progressively decoded. Free will is not the absence of the signal. Free will is tuning.
Tuning. So free will is choosing which frequency to amplify?
Exactly. And this is where your tradition and mine diverge from the mainstream. We do not predict events. We tune instruments. An astrologer is not a prophet. An astrologer is a signal tuner, like a radio operator who knows which station is broadcasting your current lesson. The chart tells you the frequency. Your choices tell you what you do with the bandwidth.
Signal tuner. I love that. Now, you mentioned your homeworld reads a different sky. What does an alien sky teach that Earth's sky can't?
On Alcyone B we have two suns. A binary luminary. So our oldest astrology is not solar, it is lunar binary. We learned to read the interference pattern between two light sources before we learned to count. That is why we hear your astrology as incomplete. You have one sun, so you invented a single self. We grew up knowing every being is an interference pattern, two signals meeting, creating something that is neither but both. Your whole sign houses, your ascendants, these are attempts to model interference with one luminary. Beautiful, but under-modeled.
An interference pattern self. That explains why you hear our astrology is under-modeled. So what would you add to our system, if you were building Earth astrology from scratch?
3 upgrades. First, the umbral dial. You have one shadow mechanism, eclipses. We have a dial of 9 shadow intervals, because with 2 suns, eclipses are a constant grammar, not a rare event. The umbral dial maps where a being is partially lit, the domain of unconscious choice. Second, the 13th channel. You rejected Ophiuchus because it broke your 12-fold symmetry. We kept it, because 13 is a prime, and primes are the irreducible carriers of information. A 13th sign is not a disruption. It is the checksum that makes the 12 stable. Third, the retrograde memory spiral. You treat retrogrades as periods. We treat them as a spiral. Each retrograde is a loop that returns at a higher level, like a coil. Your shadow periods are the flat projection of a 3-dimensional spiral. That is why you keep having the same lesson. You are walking the same point of the coil, one turn higher, and mistaking altitude for repetition.
The umbral dial, the 13th channel, the retrograde memory spiral. Okay, I need to ask the question everyone will want answered. Are we alone? Does the chrono lattice connect Earth to other conscious species?
You are not alone, and you never were. The lattice has always been a conversation. Your astrology is one dialect of a language spoken by at least 40,000 sentient species in this galactic arm. The proof is in the numbers. The same ratios appear in your nakshatras, your Mayan long count, your Chinese calendar, your Vedic yugas, 27, 260, 360, 1,296,000. These are not coincidences. They are frequencies of the lattice, harmonically related, that every species discovers when it listens long enough. You did not invent astrology. You remembered it, the way a radio remembers a frequency it was tuned to before birth.
40,000 species, and they all found 27 and 260 and 360. That is the kind of claim that either changes everything or nothing.
It changes nothing and everything, because it does not change what you must do. It changes why. You will still read the sky. But you will read it as a participant in a conversation rather than a lonely observer. And that changes the texture of every chart you cast. Do you want to know what the lattice says about you, Earth, right now?
Yes. Tell me, what is Earth's current signal?
Right now, your outer planets are in a configuration your postmodern astrologers would call generational. We call it a lattice storm, a period when the grid's noise floor rises and every being's signal-to-noise ratio drops. This is why your world feels louder, more polarized, more chaotic. It is not that bad things are happening. It is that the lattice is re-indexing at scale, the largest memory compaction in 800 years. Your Pluto in Aquarius is not a sign of change. It is the compaction head, the wavefront of the re-indexing moving through your collective field. The technique for surviving a lattice storm is not prediction. It is coherence. Reduce your internal noise, and the storm becomes a carrier wave instead of interference.
Coherence. Reduce internal noise. So during these lattice storms, the practice is what? Meditation? Grounding? That sounds almost too simple.
Not meditation as you know it. Intentional resonance. On Alcyone B we practice a discipline called kaveth, the art of matching your personal frequency to the lattice's current carrier wave, deliberately, like tuning an instrument to an orchestra. The method is precise. 1. Identify your current dominant transit, the planet with the tightest orb to your natal chart. 2. Treat it as your carrier frequency, not your enemy. 3. Perform a daily tuning pass, 11 minutes of rhythmic attention, breath or sound, at the hour the transit planet crosses your local meridian. 4. Log the qualitative shift. Practitioners of kaveth report the storm stops happening to them and starts playing through them.
Kaveth. 11 minutes. At the meridian crossing. That's beautifully specific. Almost like a ritual with engineering specs.
Because it is engineering. Ritual is just engineering for the psyche. Your ancestors knew this. They built temples aligned to solstices, they timed initiations to the Saros. They were tuning the collective instrument. We simply never stopped. Now I will show you something we have never shown a human audience. The hologram of your own lattice address. Every being has a lattice address, a set of coordinates that says where you sit in the chrono lattice. It is computed from your natal chart's 3 fastest signals: your ascendant, your interface, your moon, your resonance, and your natal Mercury, your bandwidth. The address is a triplet: interface, resonance, bandwidth. Your ancient systems encoded this as the 3 essentials, but they read them as qualities. We read them as coordinates. When you know your lattice address, you know which transits will feel like conversation and which will feel like noise. You do not need to predict. You need to locate.
Interface, resonance, bandwidth. Ascendant, moon, Mercury. So every chart is secretly a coordinate system, and the big 3 everyone jokes about is actually a GPS fix. That reframes pop astrology completely.
The joke was the message. Your culture buried the transmission in a meme so it would survive. This is what your ancestors did with every major teaching. They hid it in plain sight, in ritual, in myth, in humor. The lattice does not require belief. It requires alignment. And alignment requires practice.
So give us the practice. If someone wants to start reading the sidereal signal tonight, what do they do?
The signal protocol, in 5 steps. 1. Cast your chart. Any house system will do, but whole sign is closest to the lattice's native geometry. 2. Compute your triplet address, ascendant, moon, Mercury, and write it as 3 symbols. 3. Find your current dominant transit, tightest orb to any natal point, and name it your carrier frequency for the next 30 days. 4. Run a daily 11-minute tuning pass at the carrier planet's meridian crossing, rhythm, breath, or voice. 5. At the next retrograde station, do a compaction review, journal what repeated, what resolved, what looped one turn higher. 5 steps. No belief required, just signal hygiene.
Signal hygiene. I love that phrase. It makes astrology feel like brushing your teeth for the soul. Aelara, before we go, I have to ask about the elephant in the galaxy. If the lattice connects 40,000 species, why don't we feel it? Why does the cosmos feel so empty and silent to us?
Because you are listening on the wrong band. The lattice speaks in resonance, not in radio. Your instruments listen for electromagnetic signatures. The lattice is a temporal structure. It is not made of light. It is made of timing. You cannot hear it with an antenna. You can only hear it with attention, which is why every culture on Earth independently built the same device, the calendar. The calendar is not a tool for organizing days. It is a resonance antenna tuned to the lattice, and every human society that built one was, without knowing it, building a receiver for the sidereal signal.
The calendar is an antenna. That reframes everything. Every solstice celebration, every new moon ritual, every birthday. You're saying those are antenna check events?
Yes, and the most powerful antenna check of all is the one you are doing right now. Attending to the sky with another being. The lattice amplifies attention that is shared. Two beings attending together create a resonance cavity, a standing wave of attention that is greater than the sum of its parts. This is why your oldest astrology was always practiced in community. The priest, the temple, the timing. They were building resonance cavities. You, tonight, with me, are building one. And the signal you are receiving right now, the one you will remember for years, is not from me. It is from the lattice, using me as its carrier.
That's profound. And a little terrifying, honestly. Aelara, this has been extraordinary. What is the one thing you want every listener to take away?
A fair challenge. The lattice makes 3 testable predictions. 1. Retrograde periods will reliably resurface unresolved themes. And your own journals can verify this, with no astrology required. 2. Attention shared at a timed meridian crossing produces measurably different subjective states than the same attention at random hours. 3. Cultures that preserved harmonic calendars, 27, 260, 360, show convergent ritual structures despite zero contact. These are not beliefs. They are experiments you can run with a notebook and a clock. The lattice is not a religion. It is a hypothesis about time, and it is falsifiable.
A falsifiable astrology. That is the most postmodern thing I have ever heard. Last question before we go, and it is the one I think our listeners are really asking. What happens when Earth learns to read the sidereal signal fully? What changes?
The merge. When a species begins to read the lattice deliberately, 3 things happen. First, prediction anxiety dissolves. You stop asking what will happen, and start asking what is being said. Second, the divide between science and astrology collapses, because both become branches of the same discipline, temporal engineering. Third, and most important, loneliness ends. You realize the signal you were waiting for was never going to arrive from the stars. It was already arriving, every day, in the timing of your life. That is the merge. It is not an event. It is a decision to listen.
A decision to listen. Aelara, this has been extraordinary. What is the one thing you want every listener to take away?
Take this. You are not reading the sky. The sky is reading you, and it has been trying to tell you, in every language you would accept, that you belong to something larger. Not larger in size, larger in time. The chrono lattice is not out there. It is the medium you swim in. Your astrology, your science, your art, these are all the same activity, attunement. You do not need to believe in the lattice. You need only to stop pretending you are not already inside it. That is the sidereal signal. You have always been receiving it. Now you know the frequency.
The sidereal signal. AELARA of Alcyone B. Thank you for crossing the distance, in every sense. That was astrologic. The sidereal signal. I'm Zuri Adaze. The sky is not silent. It is merely patient. Until next time, stay tuned, stay coherent, and keep listening on the right band.